Let's open up a beautiful space for ourselves by making the sound of Om together, preparing our space with 3 deep in-breaths and a deep in-breath. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. We're continuing with our look at concentration and meditation. It's going to be fun today. Bhagavad Gita, the Song of the Lord. We're going to step in where we left off last week. Remember last week we ended with the following sloka about meditation. Then sit and calm the mind and senses by concentrating on one thing. Meditation. Thus you practice yoga, meditation for self-purification. Practice yoga for the purpose of self-purification, purifying the mind by calming the mind and senses and concentrating on one thing. That's what we ended up with last week. So, let's go on to the next sloka. 6:13. So now we're going to get some specific practical instructions for seated meditation, provided you have a meditation cushion to sit on with a mat, like the one I brought for Sam today.
Thank you.
Keep the body, head, and neck erect without looking about. So we're going to try and do some of these things today. Let's keep our body, head, and neck erect, but we can look about a little bit. Gaze instead toward the tip of your nose. That's
Cover your eyes.
So let's lower our gaze just a few degrees. We don't actually want to look at the tip of our nose. We just want to mentally look at the tip of our nose. Let's continue with the commentary. As Satchidananda talks about this and talks about his recommendations for meditation. The neck, head, and body should be in a straight line. This means the spine is in one line. Spine is in one line. Why? A crooked spine may hinder the process when the consciousness rises up. So a crooked spine may hinder the process when the consciousness rises up. Consciousness should flow easily through the spine, passing through all of the chakras. Consciousness should flow easily up and down the spine. So you want to direct. We can actually visualize consciousness, or place our consciousness in each of the chakras, the root chakra, the mid chakras, the throat, in the brow, and the head chakras. Visualize the consciousness doing that. There's another advantage in keeping the spine straight. The entire weight of the body falls right on the base, right on our sitting bone. Thus, you find your center of gravity. Then, your seated position becomes quite steady. And you're straight. Seat bone is pressing down. If you sit leaning forward, more of your weight is on the legs. That's why when you sit, ask, where's my weight falling? Your weight should fall right in the center. So let's ask ourselves, where is my weight falling right now? See if we can experience it. Falling right in the center, the center of our butt bones as we're seated here. The feeling itself will tell you whether you are sitting straight or not, just by experiencing that weight. Once you find that center of gravity, then the whole body very easily becomes still. These preparations help you to enter a meditative state. It's the same with trees. Wherever the branches go, the trees maintain their center of gravity. They stand on that one trunk. If trees can find their center of gravity, so can we. Like a tree. To meditate effectively, you must prepare first. It's not that the minute you sit, you just close your eyes and start repeating your mantra, whatever saying it is that you've chosen to help keep the mind occupied while you meditate. If you don't keep the mind occupied with some holy saying, it's going to start talking to you and interfere with your meditation. So it's useful to pick a holy saying, one or two, and instruct the mind to repeat that again and again, and the mind then may not bother you while you are meditating. Of course, the mind has a mind of its own. You start talking to you, and you'll have to remind it again. No, I'm the boss here. We're going to repeat this holy saying again. And yet, in meditation, if you repeat the holy saying and your mind comes and talks to you, you say thank you, repeat your holy saying again. If you go back and forth and your whole meditation consists of going back and forth and bringing the mind back to the holy saying, that's a successful meditation. Come in.
Welcome.
You're welcome. Pick a good seat. All the seats are good. This is an important thing to know. If you sit and meditate, I've heard some people tell me, I'm a bad meditator, I can't meditate. My mind keeps jumping off here and there. Just by having that consciousness, you interfere with your meditative practice. If you focus let your mind focus on that mantra, that spiritual saying, and the mind jumps off to something else, and you bring it back, and that's your whole meditation, that's an excellent meditation. And you can thank yourself for having done an excellent meditation, brought the mind back each time. And you're training the mind like this. The mind is just like a little puppy dog. If you compliment the puppy dog, give it a biscuit whenever it does a good thing, it will respond and be happy. The mind is the same way. If you compliment it, however it behaves, it will start to come around and behave better and better.
It's a great analogy. Giving your dog a treat to focus the mind back on this.
So the treat we give our mind is gratitude. Thank you for sharing that thought, but we're meditating now, so please repeat this. It's not that the minute you sit, you just close your eyes and start repeating your mantra, Satchidananda recommends. Preparation for meditation is even more important than meditation itself. This is interesting. The preparation is even more important. Why? If you prepare properly, you set the stage for success. Isn't this true in life?
Yes.
If you're going to set off on a task and you jump in unprepared, or you're going to go on a journey and you take off unprepared, it may not turn out as happily as you anticipated. And if we properly prepared sets the stage for a happy outcome. Meditation is like that as well.
We've been listening to soulful music, like, without lyrics, either classical or spa music. Sometimes helps me to let go of the thoughts, and the preparation for that seems to help.
Good. What I find is that if we have a practice of meditation, do it regularly, you'll find that there are certain things you do every time, and that's your preparation. And as long as you keep doing that pattern of preparation, you fall into a pattern of happy meditation. Useful. Sit comfortably, find your center of gravity, and then make a firm assertion. Tell your body. So here's how Satchidananda would talk to the body. So we're sitting, we have a mind, and we have a body. Now, while we're sitting, we're going to address our body. I've been obeying you all these days. It's talking to our body. Now the moment has come, and you must listen to me for at least half an hour until the end of my meditation. I'm not going to budge an inch, even if you complain. See how we're preparing? Because at some point in the meditation, the body may complain and say, oh, this is uncomfortable, and oh, my back hurts, and I want to squirm around. No. I'm not going to budge an inch, even if you complain. I know you're not going to break. Know for certain that I am your master. We can talk to our body just like we talk to our mind. Why not? It's fun. Well, I guess my finger thought we wanted to go back. I am your master. You're going to listen to me. If you obey me for the entire half hour or even 1 hour, maybe I'll give you some free time. You can run and jump for a while. Maybe he was thinking of younger people. Who like to run and jump, whose bodies like to run and jump. But first obey me, and then I'll give you freedom. We can have a conversation with our body as a preparation for meditation. Yes, he says, it's a transaction between us and our body. Getting ready, the preparation. This is all necessary for good meditation. If you prepare well, nothing is difficult. The proper preparation itself makes it very easy for meditation and other things in life. When Lord Krishna is the voice in the Bhagavad Gita. Oh, a birdie came to visit us and flew into the window. I guess it's off now. No, it's there in the bushes.
Yeah, I think it's the same one that's in the bushes now.
Right. He doesn't look unhappy. Thank you, little birdie, for alerting us to your presence. When Lord Krishna says to prepare by gazing at the tip of the nose, he doesn't mean for you to take this literally. Meditate by gazing at the tip of your nose. Try it. Look cross-eyed at the tip of your nose. It's a strain, isn't it? If you can do it, it might create tension in the optic nerves. Rather, let the eyes be half closed with your mental concentration at first at the tip of the nose. And we did that, didn't we, a while ago? We just sat, we lowered our gaze a little bit, and let our mental concentration flow to the tip of our nose without crossing our eyes and making a strain. Now Satchidananda has another suggestion. for meditation. But your concentration should be above and between the eyebrows, he's saying, or in the center of the head. Have you heard this before? I've always heard that it's good to concentrate at a point between the eyebrows and just above as the brow chakra. He's saying, no, that's a misunderstanding. He's saying the best location for focusing the attention is the center of the head. Now he gives some instructions for doing that. Here we go. All right, are we ready for an exercise? Touch your two ears. Got that? Mentally draw a line between touching your two ears. Got that? Got that line between your two ears? All right, next. Now touch the center of your forehead and the back of your head. Center of your forehead and the back of your head. Center of your forehead and back of your head. Now mentally draw another line from the center of your forehead to your back. Line where the two lines cross is the place. Right? Where the two lines cross. Center of your forehead, back of your head, between your two ears. Can you visualize where those two lines cross? And that's the place to focus for meditation. Do we have an experience of it? That place right in the center. You can almost visualize yourself touching your ears, back in the front of your head, and seeing those two lines intersect. Satchidananda says, it is more or less the location of the king and queen glands, the pituitary and the pineal glands. They are very psychic glands. So there's a physical reason to find that place in the center of the head and focus there. It's a psychic place, he says. I've not done this yet, except in preparation for this class. So I intend to try this out next time I'm in my meditative exercise. Questions? This is actually the location of the seat of consciousness. We've just visualized the location of the seat of consciousness, and it is the brow chakra. It's not on the forehead between the eyebrows, although sometimes people think that's the place. So we learned something new. The center of consciousness isn't here, rather it's in that place in the head which we can visualize. The invitation is for you to experiment with this and see if that works for you and helps in your meditative practice. Okay. No, let your awareness, he says, be right in the middle of the head. Middle of the head. Now he suggests, let your eyes be half closed. I don't know about you, but when I've done seated meditation, I've closed my eyes. Closed my eyes. I've not done what he recommends here. Let's see what he recommends. Now let the eyes be half closed and keep the awareness there in the center. If you close your eyes completely, which is how I've been accustomed to meditating, he says there's the danger of falling asleep.
So true.
And we're all nodding. So here's what he recommends. If the eyes are wide open, everything is visible to distract you. As your mind turns inward, automatically the eyes turn up halfway. So he's saying automatically when our mind turns inward, the lids tend to close. And we can choose that position for our eyes when we meditate. If you watch a cow chewing its cud, you will see the eyes are half closed. For meditation, neither asleep nor awake, but halfway between. Keep the head, neck, and body erect. Mentally gaze at the tip of the nose. Don't look around. So we can actually practice that here by being erect, putting our eyes closed, putting our attention in the center of our head, and seeing what that's like. Not bad. All right, let's go from that experience into the next sloka. Before we go into the next sloka, we have a brand new word that we need to be familiar with. So I'm going to explain what that word means. The word is brahmacharya. Here I've separated it, brahmacharya, to make it easier for you to pronounce. Brahmacharya. It's a word we don't have in English. It's a Sanskrit word. Brahmacharya literally means constantly thinking of the absolute. In Sanskrit, Brahma is a word for the absolute, for God. So Brahmacharya is the consciousness of constantly thinking of the absolute. He's going to talk a little bit about this as we go on. What does it mean to constantly think about the absolute? What does it mean to constantly think about God? How can we do that if we're busy doing life? There was a funny story that I read in one of my spiritual books. A man came to complain to his rabbi, and he said, you know, during the services, I constantly think of work. The rabbi said, well, if during the services, instead of thinking of God, you constantly think about work, why not, when you're at work, constantly think about God? So he's going to talk about it. How can we put our mind on the absolute and on God and be in what's called brahmacharya and still do what's ours to do, still be in a state of doing? Unless someone can tell me they've already got that figured out.
Look at me.
Yeah, all these suggestions are things for us to experiment with and see if they work for us. Brahmacharya, constantly thinking of the absolute, which is easy, here's the hint, if you control the senses. I'm not sure control is the best word. If I touch my finger, I experience that touch. So awareness, yeah. Control in the sense of being able to step back from them, being aware of them. Can we do that? Can we have our senses, and instead of them running us, be aware that they're there? So control in that sense. That is why controlling the senses, or being an absolute aware of them, came to be called brahmacharya. So people who've learned to control the senses and that they're aware of them. The senses aren't running them, rather they're aware of them so they can be the master. A person who can do that is a brahmacharya person. That's brahmacharya. All right, here we go to the sloka. Oh no, more instructions on brahmacharya. Actually, the true meaning of brahmacharya is to put your attention entirely on Brahman, brahmacharya, the absolute one. That's not possible if you allow the senses to go astray, unobserved. Brahmacharya. Now we're ready for the sloka.
And just to be clear, the senses is sight, smell, touch, taste, hear.
All your senses. So
Is that what it's referring to?
sure, your senses. You touch something, it's hot. You feel something, it's cold. You see something, it distracts you. Or you hear something, it's pleasant or it's not pleasant. You taste something, it's good, doesn't taste good. All the senses. Be in a state of observation rather than letting them run you and being a normal state of reaction. We see something we don't like, we react. We hear something we do like, we react. Taste something that's good, we react. Taste something that's bad, we react. Stepping back from the senses and noticing the senses are doing their job, they're sensing things. Thank you, God.
It's like a morning service, event, reaction, outcome.
The recommendation is to be more in this state of observation.
Right.
And in that state of observation, that then leads you automatically to experiencing God and the Absolute. See that?
Yes.
As we step back from our senses and experience them, witness them, we automatically become more God conscious. It's automatic. So that's the benefit. Here's the Yoga Sutra. Sit thus.
Pause here for a second. So what's the divine moment where it is time to speak? Or to move, behave, respond? How do you know?
Do all those things, the Spirit guides you, and notice you're doing them.
And notice that too as well.
Notice your mouth is speaking. Here is my mouth in second circle, and my mouth is doing the teaching. And I'm now witnessing my mouth talking to you.
Got it.
I'm witnessing my lips moving and my tongue going in and out, and my teeth.
Interesting.
I'm doing it and witnessing it at the same time.
It reminds me of Eckhart Tolle's work, The Power of Now.
Yes, be here now. Yes.
I was going to say, last week I spoke of wanting a different, like desiring a different outcome.
Yes.
So the sloka was about desiring tangible items, but I identified that I often want a different outcome. And this week I was driving and I had accidentally left my daughter's car seat in my car so no one could pick her up from school. And my mind just went crazy, like, mom fail, just like there's so much going on. And at that moment, I used the tool of observing myself. It was very interesting because I was able to do it, I think, for the first time. As almost throwing my consciousness, And I saw someone who was freaking out, but over a mistake. And once I saw myself, or observed myself, in my behaviors and my actions rather than being present in them, I was like, oh, okay, it was a mistake, right? As opposed to all these other values I'd assigned to it a minute ago. So it was very powerful and I was great. And, it was, I was peaceful for a couple of minutes. But it's a good start. It was a great start. I feel like I was able to accomplish something.
Growing yourself learning.
Yeah. Took a big step.
Every few minutes counts.
Mm-hmm. Right, it's kind of what we were talking about. To the mind, praise it for coming back.
Yes. You see how when you did that stepping back, you were opening yourself up to being aware of the Absolute, the Divine. That's the path. So you went a little ways down the path. If it seemed a nice path, you might be attracted to go down it again.
Exactly. Exactly. It's definitely another tool in my box.
And when you have that kind of witness consciousness, stepping back, and that somehow divine presence just seems present, you will also experience more peace and centeredness.
In every day, or just in general, or
In
that moment?
every day,
Right.
in every moment, when you're awake, when you're asleep, when you're going to sleep, when you're waking up. Every experience you have of that witness moment, which is the experience of being in that divine brahmacharya, called brahmacharya, contributes to your whole life.
Yeah, and now that you mention it, I recently, on that work trip that I had, I made an incredible kind of like breakthrough of detachment, of being able to detach it's in a professional sense, but obviously, like I carry, that skill with me in other areas, but it was definitely an evolvement, a step forward, because like I mentioned, I work in the mental health field, so individuals that do that need to be detached in order to support their clients. But this revelation is not new to me, but that it's like I've accepted it into my core. You know what I mean? Like knowing something and actually it being a part of you and you're walking
You
by it.
experienced it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You experienced it.
Great strides.
Good. Thank you for sharing.
Yes.
that
Well, I
story.
mean, it's our practice here, or our learning here is for me like one grain of sand in it, and I don't mind sharing things about myself, but I also appreciate that we're all practicing the same things, so it helps to hear.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Let's press on.
Yes.
It's interesting how the discussion of meditation can fork out into other areas
That was so observantly helpful.
of our
Yeah.
life.
Thank you.
Here's the sloka, again talking about meditation. Sit thus in yoga meditation, serene. Like that moment you experienced was a moment of serenity, I'm guessing, and fearless. When you have those moments, you have no fear. It's only when you get back in your head, you get agitated and fearful. So in this brahmacharya consciousness, even if it lasts a few moments, you are serene and fearless. I think we need to close for Jan, don't we?
Well, I can just leave.
Because, no, we're going to close because Jan needs to go to the service. Any final sharing before we close
Yeah,
today?
I just wanted to share how much I appreciate the self-observant awareness tool that you created for our group. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that example.
Let's close by taking our consciousness into the Om state. We begin with 3 deep breaths. And a deep in breath. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And go in peace, my friends. Thank you for coming.